Hello friends and family, you're welcome to Netcode-Hub channel. We're going to talk about how to improve .NET Maui desktop application with the help of or integrating context menu. When you have a list in the collection view, when you run this application in the Android, you can have these features like a swap or tab, swap view, so you can swap to delete or swap to do anything at all. But swap view does not work in Windows or desktop application. So in such case, is there any way to improve or add a context menu whereby I can just right click and now get me the content that I want? Yes, you can. Let's see. Now you see we have a list over here in this app. Now I can just swap this list from left to right or from right to left. So I can have menu over here, either to delete it or to view or to do any other stuff. But when you run this content in desktop application, swap view doesn't work. So what you're going to do here is you want to right click so that you can have the context. So example, I'm going to right click on like this. We're going to have this context menu here whereby we can choose from this context. And that is a way to improve the desktop application. Create goes to James. What you're going to do here is, first of all, let's install some package. So right click on this and I go to managing the packages. And now here we have to install community2k.mvvm because that's what you're going to be using. But I've installed that already. So if I go to dependencies and Android and now packages, you can see I have this package over here installed. So you can get it from this browse tab and now install this package. Okay. So when you're done, the next thing that we're going to do here is we have to create our model. So let's right click and now add a class. So we're going to add a class. And now this class is going to be user. So we're going to use a user class. Now you're going to have user ID, username. So you want to populate to get a list in the collection view. So you can have ID and maybe you can go in for, so this is string and we can go in for name. Okay. Now maybe you can add something else, but let's maintain this. Now we can save this. Let's create our view model. So let's add a class and this class is going to be homepage view model, or we're going to use the main page. So we're going to say main page view model. Now this main page view model is going to inherit from observable object. So with this, let's create constructor here. And let's create public observable collection. And now this collection we're going to use for this user model. And now we say users. So we have our get and set accesses. Then we can assign this to new. So in here we can talk about add users. Let's create this method. So we have private void add users. And now we are going to users.add then new user. So ID equal to 1, name. So let's see, we have John Doe. That is the first one. So let's copy this and add few ones. So add new user, we add this, we can also add another one. So let's close this. Okay, so here we're going to use another one. So let's add this too. And let's add one more to make it like 4. So here the ID is going to be 2, and now 3, and now 4. So you're going to have like okay. So now we have this user. So when this page gets called, we want to call this method. Now this method here, it is populating the user collection. So let's clear all this because you're not going to use. Okay, now let's save this. Now let's go to the main page. So first of all, let's register this here. So we say builder dot services dot add. So we want to add transient, and that's going to be main page. Now let's do same to the view model. So let's grab this, and now here, so we say main page view model. We do this. Okay, so let's go to the main page, the example.cs. Let's bind the context. So we can pass in main page view model. Then let's bind it here. So we say binding context is equal to main page view model. Okay. Now let's save this. So when you come to this main page, here, this must be a public partial class. And that is what we need to do here. Okay. Now in this main page, let's use a collection view. So here, we can clear the default one. And we're going to use collection view. So first of all, we can use grid. And now here we say row definitions. We're going to use star. Then in here, we're going to use collection view. Go to collection view, and we have collection view dot item template. So in this, so once we have the item template, let's specify the data template. And now this data template, before we do that, we have to add the view model. So let's add the namespace. And now we say this is view model. We set this equal to, so now let's navigate to the view model. So namespace, then we have demo. Okay, so we have this is a demo, and let's specify the data type here. So X data type, then we can talk about this view model dot main page view model. So let's see, so view model, and we can talk about this main page view model. So that's what we need. Now within the data type, we can also specify the model. So let's see, now we have this view model, so we can grab the model from here. So instead of this view model, we can talk about, let's say, local. Then we can copy this and grab it here. So with here, we can talk about X, and with this data type, so let's specify the data type here, and we say local, and on this local we want to use user. Now in this data template, with the collection view, let's bind the item source. So item source, we are binding this item source to users like this. Now let's specify a frame here. So let's use frame. And now this frame, we can use border color. So maybe border color. And also let's specify the margin. So 5550, meaning left, top, right, and bottom. So in here, let's use label. And on this label, let's go for the text. And on this text, let's bind this to name. So when we run this, let's run this in the window machine and see what we have now. So you can see that the application has run in the desktop mode, and this is what you see. So let's try to add a context menu. So if I right click on this, can I have an options here? Context menu. That's what we're going to have a look today. So let's see. So let's surround the frame here with a swap view. So we can have access to the flyout base, and we can get the context flyout from it. So swap view. Then let's paste what we have here. So in here, we can now look up for flyout base. Then you can have context flyout. Then when you open this, you can have menu. So menu flyout. Then inside this menu flyout, you can have menu item. So menu flyout item, as you can see from here, and we can talk about the text. So let's say we can talk about maybe get name. We can also make a copy of this. And maybe we can say view details. We can add one more. Let's say delete. So let's save this, and now let's see. So if I right click on this, you can see we have the context menu here. So get name. Now each has the same context menu, as you can see. So in the Android, you have to swap by here. Context menu works for this, and anywhere that you click, if it is within the frame, it's going to work. So it is not limited to only the name. Anywhere that you click, it still works. Okay. The next thing that we can talk about here is we can add maybe lines. So let's see what we can do from here. If we can actually add some line to this to make it beautiful. So we can go in for menu flyout separator. You see we have this, and we can copy this and now paste it here. So this is going to give it a line. So save this, and now see, you can see we have lines in between. So this is also a feature that we can also add. We can also add an image or an icon to this. Okay, so let's say get image. Now let's see this item if we can have icon image source, then we don't have any image here, so we can decide to use when you go to our resources and our image, because we have .net-but.svg, so we can add that. So .net but underscore svg .svg. Let's see if it is. So it is. Solution. Okay, so we can just take this off. So save this and let's see if this will work for us. Okay, so the icon must be here, but we are not seeing this icon image source. Let's refresh this and see. All right, so let's see. Now this is not showing, so let's try to. I've added a map image here, so you can see there's a map image. Now let's try to use that image here. So map.png, save this, and now let's see. So you can see the icon is showing, right? So you can decide to add an image or an icon, and it's going to be shown over here. Okay, now the next thing that you can talk about is event. So if I click on this, what should happen? Maybe this. So I can decide to click this. So you can add click event, and now when it is clicked, what do you want to do? We have this event called. So we save this. Now let's go to this page and you can see the event over here. So we can decide to display something like shell. So shell.current.display alert. Let's say this is info. And here we can talk about, let's say, clicked. Let me say okay over here. So I want to save this. Let's see what happens. So if I click on this and I get name, we must have that event file because we associated the event to the first one. So it is saying that we have to restart our. So let's restart this. So loaded. Now let's see. So get name, and you can see we have the associated to it. But in case if you want to associate this, to the view model, can we do that? Let's try to see if we can associate this to a view model, because you don't want to use the event driven. We want to bind this to a method created in a view model. That's a homepage view model. So in such case, what can we do? Let's see. So let's give this content page name. So we set this name to, and this is main page content. So after setting up this page, then this is what we can do. We come to the first page, and in here we can clear this clicked. So let's clear this off. Now once we clear the click, we have to the event, you have to also go to this and now clear this event as well. Now in here, let's add command. Now this command, we have to bind it. Now this bind, we set up source, and this source make a reference to, so we reference, then this reference we set up to main page. So that is a main page content. That is a reference that we are setting up to. And aside from that, we have to specify the path. And do you have any path? So we have to go in there and now create a method. Okay, so before we come to this, let's stop this. Let's go to the main page and I'll create a method here. So this is public and this is display name. And now the display name we are passing in with the user and the user object. And now we say that so is in task, you forgot that. And now with this we have to say, so if user is not equal to null, that is where we want to display. So await cell dot current dot display alert. And now this is info, and what you want to display here, it is user dot name. Then you can have OK button, else then you want to return. Very simple. So you want to display the name, so we have this method. Now let's pass in an attribute here as a relay command to this. Now let's go to the main page. So in here we specify the path. And now the path, how are you going to specify the path? We are going to do it by saying binding context. So path is equal to binding context dot. So binding context dot, now we can go in for the method name. So this is a method name. Now since we are using the relay command, it means you have to add command to it. So we go to the ViewModel, that's the main page, then dot, we paste this and add command to it. Aside from that, let's specify command parameter. So what are the command parameters that we want? And now here we say binding, then using dot, meaning referring to itself. So you can see we create a reference to the page, and now we set the context, the binding context. Now when you go to the main page here, the context bound here, it is a main page view model. And now this main page view model contains a method known as display name. So when we make a reference here, it means we are referring to the context bound to this main page. And now we want to go in there and make a reference to a command known as display name command, and pass in a method or pass in the variable or an object as a current object that the mouse is hovering on. So that's what this line is telling us to do. So now let's save this and now let's run the application. So now let's see what the application has built and run. So right click on this. Now you can see we have this method here, or this context menu. So delete happens, view nothing happens. Now if I click on get name, let's see what happens. You can see I have John Doe, that is the name that I'm displaying. If I right click on this and click on this, you can see I have the name, and that is a way. So you can see this method that we are calling here, it is bound to the view model. And that is a beautiful way to use context menu in desktop application. This is for desktop application. Context menus are for desktop application. Okay, now aside from this, we can add multiple. If you want to add sub, maybe this getting, if you want to add sub, or you want to have like something like options, you want to have something like detailed or more to get as the list. So how can you do that? Let's see how to group or how to add sub context menu. So to add sub context menu is quite simple. Let's see how to do that. Now we go to the page. So here, let's add a separator. So let's take this out. And now let's add a separator here. And let's create this menu fly out item. So we're going to say menu fly out item sub item. As you can see from here, we have this. So sub item. Then let's say test. We say more. So this is what's going to be displayed. Now when this button is clicked, we're going to have this fly out item. So we can copy this and now paste this. So let's see. So more, we can talk about save, maybe edit, and let's say add to favorites. Okay, so maybe we can add this. So save this, and now let's see what's going to happen. So if I right click on this, you can see I have more. Since I hover on, I have save, edit, add to favorite, right? So the same thing applies to this, and I can do that. So you can do more with this context menu. Can do more to use it in your application or desktop application development. All right, so that is a short video on how to integrate this. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what I'm doing, you can give me a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel as well. Check the playlist and we have a lot of lessons and projects for you. Thank you, and I'm going to catch you up in the next video.